Hi, this is Mrs. Nelms reading Chapter 8. The next day, after our morning math and vocabulary, Miss Lark came back to help our class rehearse for the Winter Wonderland program. First, the girls practiced their snowflake song. They were getting better and better. Then the boys sang Jingle Bells. They sounded good. Maybe it was because Joey wasn't singing along. He kept his mouth firmly closed. "You know, Joey, I miss hearing your voice," Miss Lark said when the song had finished. "Please join in with the others." "That's okay," just Joey said. "Well, I want you to," Miss Lark told him. "So do I," Mrs. Brisbane said, smiling brightly at Joey. I was smiling too. At least I was smiling inside. The boys sang Jingle Bells again. Joey sang along, in a softer voice, but I have to admit, he did sound a little bit like a frog. Next, Miss Lark talked about the costumes, and what costumes they would be. The girls would wear white shirts. Then they were going to make big snowflakes to wear on their backs and smaller ones to wear on their wrists. They'd be shiny and glittery, and the girls would spin around like falling snowflakes. The thought of all that spinning made me head straight for my wheel. After all, spinning is something I'm very, very, very good at. The boys were going to make tails to wear, and they'd have bells that would jingle and jangle as they pranced around like horses. I hopped off my wheel and tried prancing. I'm not sure I looked like a horse, though. My classmates were as excited as I was about the costumes, and after Miss Lark left, Mrs. Brisbane had a little trouble getting them to settle down. But Mrs. Brisbane is such a good teacher, she knew exactly what to do. She started talking about snowflakes again, and this time, she told us there are 7 different types of snowflakes. She showed pictures of interesting shapes and patterns, and then my friends got to draw their own snowflakes. "Og, don't you think snowflakes are beautiful?" I squeaked to my neighbor as the class was busily drawing. "Boing," he replied. He dived into the water side of his tank and splashed like crazy. The bell for lunch break rang, and most of my friends hurried out of the classroom. All except Hurry Up Harry. He came over to my cage and said, "Hey Humphrey, I've got a song for you." Then he sang, "Jingle bells, your feet smell." "Hurry up, Harry, we've got to get to lunch," Slow Down Simon shouted. "See you later, Humphrey," Harry said. After he left, I sniffed my paws. Harry was right. My paws smelled like strawberries and carrots and my favorite Nutri-Nipples. I think they smelled hamsterlicious. When I woke up a little later, I heard a voice say, "Are you in there, Humphrey? I can't see you." I poked my head out of my sleeping hut, but all I could see was a gigantic eyeball. I didn't dare leave my little house with a thing like that outside. But then the eye blinked, and then a face moved, and I could see that the eyeball belonged to just Joey. I scurried out to show him I was there after all. "Hi, Joey," I squeaked. "Oh, there you are," Joey said. "Mrs. Brisbane said I could give you some fresh water." A giant hand reached in the cage and removed my water bottle. "I'll be right back." It's a little disturbing when someone removes my water bottle, but so far no one has ever forgotten to bring it back. Not even forgetful Phoebe. Sure enough, Joey quickly returned and put it back in place. "Here you go, Humphrey," he said. "It's raining, so we couldn't go out for recess." I looked out of my cage and saw that the rest of the class was busy drawing and cutting things out and talking to each other. Mrs. Brisbane said we could work on our costumes for the Winter Wonderland show, Joey sighed. I wish there wouldn't even be a Winter Wonderland show. I wiggled my nose. Did he mean that? "What's the point? I can't even sing because my voice is so bad," he said. "It's not that bad," I squeaked, but Joey didn't understand. "Just as well," he said. "My dad doesn't think he's going to be able to come. He lives far away, and he doesn't know if he can get off work on time. And the roads will be bad if it snows." "Eek!" I squeaked. I knew that Joey wished he could see his father more. "Come on, Joey. We've got to work on our tails," Thomas said. When the break was over, Mrs. Brisbane made my classmates put away their costume pieces and talk about science again. "It's too bad it's raining and not snowing," she said. "Then we could go out and gather snowflakes and study them." "Wouldn't they melt right away?" Sophie asked. "Yes, but I have an idea about that. We would have to look at them quickly," Mrs. Brisbane said. She went on to explain how snow actually helped crops grow by protecting them from the cold. It was interesting, but for some reason I couldn't stop thinking about how the Winter Wonderland program was making everybody feel good, 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 except for Joey. It was making him feel bad, bad, bad. When Og and I were alone after school, I was still thinking about the problem. I think Joey sings fine, don't you? I said. Boing, Og replied. Not like a frog at all, I said. Then I quickly added, not that there's anything wrong with the way a frog sings. Og dived into the water and splashed around. A little later, Aldo came into the room to clean. He greeted us as usual, then went about his work, dusting and sweeping room 26. And, since Aldo is generally a happy human, he even sang a little song about a reindeer with a red nose. That would be something to see. But he didn't talk until it was time for his dinner break. Then he pulled a chair close to the table by the window where Og and I live and took out his paper bag. Well, fellows, the holidays are almost here, he said. Yes, 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 I squeaked. Aldo took a tiny carrot out of his bag and pushed it through the bars of my cage. Season's greetings, he said. I didn't say anything because I was busy chewing my crunchy treat. I always love Christmas, Aldo said, but this year is a special one. Aldo looked at us and smiled a big smile that made his furry mustache look like a half moon on its side. You see, boys, I got some exciting news from Maria, he said. She's going to have a baby in the coming year. That means we're going to be a real family. I'm going to be a dad. Aldo's smile just grew and grew. That's wonderful, I shouted, wishing with all my heart that he could understand me. Isn't it, Og? My neighbor was strangely silent. Og, didn't you hear that? Aldo and Maria are having a baby, I repeated. I guess Og heard me that time because he suddenly leaped up and said, boing, 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 boing. That made Aldo's smile even bigger, and he let out a loud laugh. Thank you, fellows, he said. Your congratulations are appreciated. Then Aldo took out a huge sandwich and began to eat. I stopped eating and hid some of my carrot in my cheek pouch. I wasn't in the mood to eat right then. I was too busy thinking about Aldo and Maria and their baby. Yep, next year this time we'll be celebrating with our own baby, Aldo said. Isn't that amazing? I absolutely, positively thought that it was. I only wish that Joey could celebrate with his dad this year. Humphrey's winter wonderings. I wonder if Aldo's baby will have a mustache like his. If so, I hope it's not a girl.